So this part of the guide is going to explain the defense side of neutral. So first off, we have to talk about blocking. Blocking is a fairly straightforward mechanic. It's exactly what it sounds like. You're blocking attacks, and the way that you do that is you hold back on the control stick or your joystick, whatever you're using, or backwards on the keyboard. Just hold back and you'll block high and mid attacks, and by high I mean like overheads, so something like that where they jump up and attack. And there's also a crouching block, which is holding down and back. So sometimes people will use low attacks by holding down and pressing medium. That's how a lot of people start their combos. So if you hold down and back, that will actually, what's it called? That'll actually stop them from hitting you that way. So if you look here, you can't see the inputs, but the bot is holding down and back to block those moves. And also, the third type of blocking, it's blocking mid-air. It's not really that special, other than it blocks all types of moves. So like, what do you call it? High, mid, low. So, I mean, it's pretty straightforward for the most part, but there are things that you shouldn't do. There are a couple common mistakes that people do while guarding a lot, at least that I've noticed, and I've actually noticed me doing this a lot too. So I'm actually going to get rid of this. You see that? Anyway, so a lot of people, like, while they block, they spam buttons. Let's see if the bot will punish it. So let's see if he starts pressuring me. So I was spamming back, or I was holding back while spamming L, which put me out of my block. And if the move they're using is not negative on block, meaning that I can act out of block before they can after they hit me, then spamming the button will end up in me getting punished, because it'll simply just put me out of my defensive stance and they'll be able to hit me most of the time. So that's something you should try to avoid. Try not to spam buttons while blocking. It's understandable in some situations. If you know your opponent is trying to stagger or is staggering their moves, sometimes mashing can work. However, I do not recommend it. And then the other mistake I see a lot of people do is holding low block too long. So something like that will just like get you like killed against better players, because better players will know about how to use unblockable moves or the universal overhead, which is 6M, yeah. Or basically holding forward and pressing medium. That's the universal overhead, which will be any crouch block. Not to mention, if their character has any unblockable moves, that'll just kill you. And then the other mistake I see is a lot of players don't use low block enough. Like, they almost use it not at all. And a lot of people will use 2M or any low attack to start their combos. So knowing how to block low attacks is necessary. So another important part of defense is this thing called teching. If you've played Street Fighter before, this should be somewhat familiar to you. So in Street Fighter you can grab players, but there's this thing called a tech, which is where you grab while the other player's grabbing, which would end up in both players backing away from each other and not grabbing. So it's a technical skill. So in Dragon Ball FighterZ, there's this button you can press to do a Dragon Rush if you use the right bumper or R1 on a PlayStation controller. So that leads to this auto combo where you hit them up in the air and then you can get a really nice combo off them. But you can actually tech against that, meaning that you can cancel it. So the way you do that is when you see this, let me see if I can pause it on, nope, whoops. So when you see this, okay, well that circle thing that appears on my character, like this blue greenish thing, that's a signal for you to also press the Dragon Rush button, or buttons if you use the combination to do it. And you'll end up, if you press it quick enough, you'll actually end up canceling the Dragon Rush. So you guys will end up doing this really cool animation thing and you'll both back away from each other. So this is kind of essential. If you block too long, better players will use Dragon Rush to break through your block, because you can't block Dragon Rush. I can show that here. it's best to think of it as like a type of grab that just ends up leading into an auto combo. So like even if I set it to guard all, I think I should be able to. Yeah, I'm able to still get the bot. So just stay aware of that circle. This will stop you from losing a lot of HP because like this like is pretty devastating, especially if the person knows how to combo and they know how to use their assist, and they can just keep juggling you for a really long time. So something I forgot to mention was anti-airs, which is it's like being on the defense by using an offense almost. So everyone knows this move, Super Dash, that this bot is spamming right now. It's a good move. It closes the distance between you and your opponent, and it's safe on block because you can just dash back or even dash forward if you really wanted to. But so this causes a lot of problems when you're new to the game and you're kind of bad at blocking. But there is something that you can do to counter this super heavy, and it's the universal anti-air, which is 2H. So this move is it's invulnerable to all air attacks. So if I just wait for this spot to super dash, oh, I fucked that up. If I wait for it to super dash, nope, that wasn't one. You can catch it in the middle of its super dash if you press down heavy, and this will counter it no matter what. No aerial move will ever beat that out, unless it's like a super or something. But it's invulnerable to all air attacks, normal air attacks, and you can use it to get a free combo. This is really important because it's basically giving you free damage, and it also like forces the enemy to respect your space. Like you're telling them this isn't going to work, and you have to respect me, back up, stop running into me. And if you don't do this, like you need to practice this because you're missing out on free damage if you don't do this, especially considering how much people spam the super dash button. But anyways, it's also good to know which moves are unblockable. For example, let's see, I think Android 16 has no unblockable. So right now this Gohan's on block all. No matter what attack I throw out, he'll block it. But let's see, if I do quarter circle forward Y, yeah, it'll still grab it. So it's a good idea to know what moves are unblockable or not, just so that when you see these, you can try to react to them and not get comboed or die possibly, because Android 16 has a backwards quarter circle, are heavy and special, and this goes through blocks. This will kill you, and it's a one-shot. So it's definitely a good idea to study the game a little bit and look at which moves are unblockable or not, because those moves, you need to dodge them by either jumping over them or using instant transmission, or maybe starting up your super because it has invulnerability frames. So like if someone tried to do this level 3 from Android 16 on me, if I time, oh, you can only do that once per match, I forgot. If you time your super correctly, so let's see if I can do this and get Vegeta to start attacking me. Let's get him to attack me. I think I'm in there, I can't do that. Okay, attack. So right now in vulnerability frames, even though his kick had an active hitbox, it's not going to hit me. So that basically covers the basics of defense. I might have gone a little too fast, but if you have any questions or comments or suggestions for the next guide or something, just put them in the comments. So thanks for watching.